Judicial analyst, Judge Andrew Napolitano. So I think last week when we were here, and you were my personal law tutor, I said, is there any way to get the courts to rule on this sooner than later so that we have some clarity? Does this action by the mayor get us a step closer?
I'm sorry to tell you that I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. Because the Attorney General has merely threatened to withhold funds. He hasn't actually withheld the funds.
Okay.
So Chicago is not harmed, so there isn't any case for the court to resolve until the money is actually held back. If Donald Trump had been president a year ago, and if the cash that's flowing to Chicago had been subject to the agreement, you take this cash, you agree to help the feds enforce immigration policy, then Rahm Emanuel would have a very, very thin ice to stand on. But since the money that is flowing to Chicago is coming from the last year of the Obama administration budget, which did not include the condition you will help immigration enforcement, he has very strong ground to stand on. So once the case is litigated, I think he wins and the Trump administration loses. But until the Trump administration actually stops sending the money, there's no basis for a lawsuit.
So why do you think they would be successful? Is it because of the way our system is set up, that the state and local governments have some discretion as to what they're going to do?
Yes, and it's because of a number of Supreme Court cases which basically say the federal government can't commandeer the states. It can't come in there and say, Chicago police, you're not going to work for us, even though the work for us is minimal. It's just sharing of data. The city of Chicago has the right to spend its money and direct its police however it wants, and they're not required to help the feds. Can the federal government enforce all federal laws on their own without local assistance? No. As big and powerful and rich as the federal government is, it requires some cooperation. But that must be voluntary on the part of the locals. It can't be compelled.
It just seems like there should be a way to get this resolved. But let's move on to just another topic, which was the fact that the Attorney General on Friday had a press conference to great fanfare talking about the leaks investigations. And Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein was on Fox News Sunday. Let's take a listen.
What we need to look at in every leak referral we get, we look at the facts and circumstances. What was the potential harm caused by the leak? What were the circumstances? That's more important to us than who it is, who is the leaker. So if we identify somebody, no matter what their position is, if they violated the law and that case warrants prosecution, we'll prosecute it.
Including White House officials and members of Congress.
Including anybody who breaks the law.
And so you make a very important distinction about there are times that there are national security leaks that are criminal, that's like classified information that would hurt somebody. And then there's just stuff that you don't want out there that's sort of abominative out there, but it's not against the law.
It was embarrassing and humiliating and to me personally irritating.
And wrong.
That a transcript of the president's conversation with the Prime Minister of Australia or the President of Mexico was released. But because there was nothing classified in there, there was no crime. I believe what the Deputy Attorney General is talking about, Rod Rosenstein, in his interview with Chris Wallace, was where classified material is released to affect the policy of the government, to embarrass the president or for some other purpose. That's a felony, and that's what he's looking for. Here's what I'm worried about. It is good for them to prosecute people who break the law, but where do these prosecutions begin? They go to the media person who received and published the information and say, what are your sources? Ask Judith Miller and James Rosen about that.
Absolutely.
And that wreaks havoc on the ability of the media to do its job because the media doesn't have to reveal its sources. So we'll see where it ends up.
All right. Well, maybe even just talking about going after leaks will help stop it.
It might. It might have
like the wall.
a marginal effect.
Talking about the wall.
Right.
Curbs immigration. All right.
Was I a good professor tonight?
You're an excellent professor. I appreciate it. And it was tuition free.
Oh, yeah. Great student.
What a deal. All right.